everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be a first impression, a follow-up video. I have two different videos that I am going to be giving my reviews on. The first one was testing $1 makeup from the Shop Miss A website, and then also my latest Ulta Try On Haul where I was trying out products from Elcie Cosmetics and also Oma Beauty. I will have both of my first impression videos linked down below, but as always when I do first impressions or hauls over here, I always like to come back after I've been able to try the makeup a little bit more, give my full thoughts on everything, what I recommend, what did not work for me. So if you want to catch some of these reviews, why don't we go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm going to start with following up my Shop Miss A video. So if you guys have not heard of the website Shop Miss A, they have $1 makeup, and they have not just makeup over there, they have a bunch of items over on their website. It's a little bit overwhelming to go through, but if you really take some time and commit to it, they have a lot of extremely affordable items. I mean, like I said, $1 items over there. I have some hits, I have some misses, I have some products that I'm just kind of like so about, but to just kind of run through everything that I tried. First up, this is the AOA Studio Wonder Skin Poreless Primer. I wasn't really a fan of this primer in my testing new makeup video. I tried it about 2 or 3 more times, I want to say, and I just don't notice anything with this. It's like I've put nothing on my skin. I don't notice anything with my pores. I don't notice it doing anything kind to my skin. It truly just feels like I've maybe like splash my face with water or something. Like, it doesn't feel like anything. So wasn't a really big fan of this, even for $1. I wouldn't recommend that because I just don't think anything's happening when I wear it. And then unfortunately the BB cream, this is the AOA Studio Perfect BB cream. I was kind of excited about this because I like BB creams or CC creams or tinted moisturizers or something like that. For the summertime, I tend to kind of wear less makeup, have less coverage, you know, less products on my face. So when I was trying out the BB cream, I thought, cool. And the first time I put it on, I thought that it looked pretty decent. I didn't mind it. I felt like it went okay. But this did break me out pretty badly. And it broke me out in like weird spots that I don't normally break out in. Like around here, like around, get my hair in my face, like around this area, I was getting like very strange little breakouts. Unfortunately, this one was a miss for me too, which was a bummer because I really wanted to enjoy that one. But I do have a hit and something that I'm very excited about. So in the first impression video, I mentioned that I was really curious about the beauty sponges, and I've heard people say that they love them. I've had people recommend them to me, so I really wanted to grab a few of them and see what I thought. Now in that video, I used one from the AOA Studio, which again, that is the all like $1. I think that's like Shop Miss A's brand, and then they also carry other brands. So everything from AOA Studio is $1. So I grabbed a sponge, and it was a pink sponge, and I did not like it. I said in that video, I thought it was hard. It felt like I was like hitting myself in the face. Like, I did not enjoy that one at all. But I said I had picked up a few other ones just because I wasn't sure. So, you know, I didn't feel bad grabbing a handful of sponges at $1 because, you know, they're just affordable, and beauty sponges are something I use pretty much daily. And if you have a whole bunch, you don't have to wash them as much, right? As frequently. You know what I mean? So I didn't like that one, and honestly, I can't even find it. I don't think I would have thrown it away. Like, I truly don't, but I cannot find it. Maybe Aries took it and hid it. I'm really not sure, my dog. But I cannot find that one. But a lot of you in that video said to do the Paw Paw sponges. They're $1.55, but everything over $1, so that 55 cents, it does get donated to an animal charity, which I thought was really cool. And I had picked up some of those just because I wasn't 100%. And these are so nice. This is the sponge that I just used today. I did film this makeup look. This has mostly the Elcie Cosmetics and the Oma Beauty. I did film it for a little tutorial for my Instagram if you're interested. That should already be up, so I will link it down below. But I did use this sponge for my foundation, my concealer, my powder. I have cream contour on, so I use that for everything, and I really like these sponges. I picked up this one and I think 2 other of the Paw Paw ones, and I really like these. Again, they're only $1.55, which is, that's the most affordable beauty sponge that I have in my collection by far. So I think that's great, and this definitely is the product that I was most impressed with and that I can see myself repurchasing. Like, I would probably purchase like a handful at a time, but again, at $1.55, like, that's totally cool. I think that's great. They're nice and soft, which I appreciate. They remind me a little bit like in texture, and texture and feel of like the Flower Beauty sponge. If you've tried that one, that is probably my softest sponge to date. This one feels a little bit more like that one, but I really like it for applying my makeup. I think that it's really nice, so I'm definitely very impressed with these. I would highly recommend these over just the $1 ones. So, I mean, you're only going to save 55 cents, but I really recommend these. So, definitely, like, probably my standout product if I had to pick anything to recommend from the Shop Miss A website or the AOA brand, it is the Paw Paw Sponge. So I also tried out a powder from them. This is the Perfect Setting Powder, and I tried out the Brightening Powder. I really don't mind this powder. I can't say it turned into an absolute favorite of mine, but I like it. I think that it works pretty good. I didn't notice any like adverse effects with my skin or anything. So I did like this one. The only thing, I didn't notice like a ton of brightening with it. When I use a brightening setting powder, I really like my under eyes to be brightened. The Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder, the Lawless Beauty has a brightening setting powder that I just feel like when I apply it, there's just like a little bit of light under my eyes, and I like that. I didn't notice a ton of brightening with it, but I still felt like it was a nice powder. It's not the, what do I want to say? It's not the most like finely milled powder, so I tend to like to use like less is more when it comes to this powder is what I'll say, because it can get a little bit thick on the under eyes, so I recommend using a little. I actually prefer to use like a small brush with this versus my sponge, because a lot of times with my sponge I can just kind of like dunk it in and get a lot of product at once, and sometimes with powders such as like the Hourglass Veil powder, which is so smooth, it doesn't really matter if I pick up a lot of product, it just still looks really nice on the skin. This one can get a little bit on the heavy side, so I just prefer to dip in a small brush and use it on my under eyes. But again, this was $1, and I think that it's a nice powder. Again, it's not an absolute favorite of mine, but I liked it. I thought that this was a pretty good one. I quite liked this product as well. This is the AOA Studio Sculpt FX contour stick, and this is in Fawn. So I liked this. I felt like it was nice to apply into the skin. I'm not a huge cream contour or cream bronzer girl. I'm getting a little bit more into them. Like I have the Oma Beauty contour stick on today, and I've been getting a little bit more into like even my Milk Makeup cream bronzer and all of that, but they're not typically what I tend to reach for. But I noticed after I first tried this, I was like, you know what, I kind of did like that. It felt nice and smooth on my face. I felt like it was really easy to blend out. The only thing with this one, the only con that I'll say is that I feel like you really have to use a lot of it at once, like really go pretty heavy on the skin and blend it out. Otherwise, you know, if you go a little bit lighter, blend it out, it almost looks like there's nothing there, so then I have to go in again and blend it out. So that's what I did the first couple times. Then I was like, why don't you just apply more product and see what happens? So if I apply more and blend it out, then I think I can notice the contour with it. Otherwise, if you don't use enough product, it just kind of blends away into nothing. This is still a nice option, especially if you are very much into affordable makeup, or maybe you're learning, you're trying to get into cream contour or cream bronzer, and you're not exactly sure, and you don't want to spend $20 on the Benefit or the Milk, and you just want something to learn to try on. This would be a really good option for you. But again, I thought this was pretty decent. It's not going to be, once again, it's not like an absolute favorite of mine, because there's just like a few little things about it that I wish were a little bit different, or that I get, you know, better with other products in my collection. But I thought it was pretty good. And then next up I have the blush. This is the AOA Studio Perfect Blush, and I chose out the shade Delight. The thing that I really noticed as a con with this one, I don't know if you'll be able to see the swatch really well because it's very light, is I feel like you definitely have to build it up a lot. If you can even tell by the swatches that I'm doing with it, you definitely want to build it up a lot, and it just kind of gives like a soft, like very natural peachy sheen to the cheeks. It's not like a blush that you're going to have to very lightly dip into, like the Cover FX new blushes, the monochromatic blushes. Those are very intensely pigmented blushes. I just have to tap my brush in them, and I'm going to get so much pigment, and it's going to last for a really long time. With this one, you can really take your brush and swirl it around and swirl it in there and blend it out onto the cheeks, and you're just going to get a soft wash of color. Some people really like that look. There's days where I really like that look. You know, there's days where I don't want to go too heavy on the blush, or I just want like a little bit of color to the cheeks. Then this one is a good option. But I think for me and what I personally look for in blushes is maybe something that is going to last me a little bit longer or is going to be a little bit quicker to use. And this one, I feel like you kind of have to take your time, really build it up, and it's not going to last, you know, it's already so faint anyways, it's not going to last the longest. So that's kind of what I noticed about the blush. So that one, I mean, I try to remember that these are only $1, which is so extremely affordable, but again, at the same time, you know, I'm at the point where I am right now. There's certain products that I would rather spend a little bit more money on and enjoy the products more, have them easier to use, the wear time be better, you know, things like that. So just trying to give my thoughts on these products, and that's my thoughts on the blush. The highlight that I used was the AOA Studio Perfect Press Highlighter, and this was in the shade Tiarra. This is a really nice highlighter, so a nice powder highlight. I thought that it looked quite nice on the skin. So again, shows up really well. You know, you can tell from the swatch of it, shows up very nicely. It has like a little purple shift to it, if you will. But I thought it was very nice. The only like con I would say with this one is that it is a pretty powdery highlight. So when you dip your brush in there, you definitely get a lot of powder. And sometimes with a little bit more powdery highlights, you know, they just don't look as smooth or as natural on the skin. But I think if you use a setting spray, once you kind of spray it, it kind of helps melt the powders into it. That definitely is a beneficial step when it comes to this one, because again, you just kind of notice it looking a little bit more powdery on the skin. But honestly, I thought this one was pretty good too. Moving over to some of the eye products that I tried. So I used this AOA Studio XL Long Lasting Shadow Stick. I used this shade Ginger. So it's just like a matte eyeshadow stick here. It's kind of like this nice kind of like terracotta brown shade for Ginger. I didn't mind this one. You know, it was fairly easy to apply into my eye. It was fairly easy to blend out, but this did not last at all. I mean, really just a couple hours after doing my makeup, my eye makeup had faded quite greatly. So again, it's only $1, and you know, maybe if you're only popping out for like an hour and you want something on your lids, like sure, but probably not really something that I'm going to be able to recommend. So kind of a bummer there, because I was interested, I was curious about it. Again, I don't go for the cream products a ton, but you know, I'm always down to try something new, you know. But I didn't love that one. And then this here, this is actually a velour highlighter in the shade Lucky. I used it as an eyeshadow though, because you know, it's makeup, you can do what you want. And this is actually more of like a what am I trying to say? It's more of a cream highlight. So I used it on the eyes, and I also did use it on my skin. I'll say that I do think that it's quite pretty either way. On the eyes, I noticed that it faded pretty quickly as well. I mean, Ginger had pretty much faded almost completely. This one was still like kind of hanging on to the center of my lids. I could see just a little bit of a sheen. Also on the skin, when I applied it as a highlight to my cheeks, I noticed like towards the end of the day when I was wearing this as a highlight that it was almost completely gone, which I don't tend to notice my highlight fading. And maybe it's just because I love a blending highlight. I'm really going in there with my highlights. But I really have never noticed a highlight fading so much on my skin. But this one definitely does fade. The highlight, I would recommend the powder versus the like velour cream highlighter. Okay. Next up was the mascara. This is the AOA Studio Fat Lash Mascara. I don't have a lot of feelings about this one. I thought that it was fine. I like the wand. I like how like kind of thin the wand is. It's really easy to get at the base of the lashes. But I didn't really notice much with this one. It was kind of one of those mascaras that I put on and it's like, did I put on mascara? I'm not 100% sure. And I don't really have a lot going on with my lashes, so I prefer like getting length and volume if I can, and maybe even like making my lashes a little bit darker. I kind of ask for a lot in my mascaras, and I didn't quite see a whole lot with this one. So that was kind of a bummer to me. So again, I probably wouldn't recommend the mascara. I think there's nice ones even from the drugstore. Like Maybelline has great mascaras that I've used for several years. So mascara wasn't a favorite of mine either. And then I just have two more products to finish off with, and these were the lip products that I tried out. So I have the AOA Studio Wonder Matte Liquid Lipstick. This was in the shade Boujee. I really liked the shade, and I liked it when I first applied it. I thought it was a nice liquid lipstick. It seemed like a bit of a thinner formula, and I can even tell as I'm doing the swatch here, I had to build it up twice. It's a little bit of a thinner formula, so you do kind of have to, like, I apply to my bottom lip, then I apply another swipe to my bottom lip, and then I'll go in with the top lip. Sometimes I even had to do 3 coats to really kind of like build up that pigment. So it's not the most opaque liquid lipstick that I've ever worn, but I thought it looked nice when I first applied it, but it is very, very dry on the lips, which I kind of wouldn't have thought just with how thin it was. I truly thought, I don't know, that it wouldn't be that way, but it is pretty dry on the lips, so not a total favorite of mine. And then for the gloss, this is the AOA Studio Diamond Lip Gloss, and this is in Glitz. I have been getting more into lip glosses lately, but this one, again, is not my fave. So the swatches at the top here, this is just like packed with glitter, which I don't love for a lip gloss. Like, I like a shine, like a sheen to my lips, like a gloss to my lips, but I don't like glitter like the Too Faced like pretty rich glitter lip glosses that came out. These are what they remind me of. If you really liked those, or if you saw swatches and you were absolutely dying over them, I mean, this was still a nice gloss. It felt nice, it wasn't too sticky and all of that, but how much actual glitter is in it, how much glitter you can see on your lips, that I wasn't necessarily a fan of. So lip products, not super impressed with there. So again, like, there's some really good hits, there's some like really bad misses, and then there's some products that I'm just kind of so-so about. But those are my thoughts on my products that I tried out from the Shop Miss A website. I'd love to know if you've tried them, some of your favorites. Let us know in the comments down below. But when we go ahead and jump over to that Ulta Beauty video as well and give my reviews there. So for that Ulta Try On video, I really wanted to test some new brands that were available at Ulta Beauty, one of those being Elcie Cosmetics, and then the other brand, Oma Beauty, is actually a new brand, but they did also launch at Ulta. So I actually redeemed a bunch of my points to get some of these products. I'll try to get through these quickly because I felt like I spent a little bit more time on the, I thought I was going to go through the Shop Miss A video a little bit quicker, but I'd like to be able to give my thorough reviews. You know, I take a while to test these products out, so I want to be able to give my full thoughts on them. But for Elcie Cosmetics, I decided to grab the Pearl Radiance Primer. This has really good reviews. I've heard a lot of people talk about this primer, and I was like, you know, I like primers. Like, I'll try this out. And I also did grab the foundation from Elcie Cosmetics, so I thought that they would be good to pair these together. I really like this primer. So again, the Pearl Radiance Primer, you get the 1 fluid ounce. It's $38, which Elcie Cosmetics, both of these brands are expensive. I spent a lot of points, okay? But you know, it is more expensive, but even from the first time I put it on, I was like, wow, this just looks nice. It feels a little bit more hydrating and almost gives you like a little soft sheen to the skin. I just thought it looked really nice, and the more that I tried it, I kept thinking, wow, this really reminds me of something. This really reminds me of a primer, but what am I thinking of? It reminds me a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Soft Focus Wonder Glow primer, the $55 primer that I absolutely love, and I feel terrible every time I talk about how much I love it because it's so expensive for a primer. This Elcie one reminds me a little bit of that, and it's still very expensive at the $38, but if you don't want to pay the $55 for the Charlotte Tilbury price, but you want to try out something like that, I would recommend this one. It does have a pump on it. Again, just, I feel like every foundation that I've tried with this one, everything sits really nicely on top of it. Again, I have dry skin, so I like that you get this little bit of like radiance with it. I think that that's really nice. I really like this one. I think especially for my skin type and what I look for in my complexion products, this one was a really big hit for me. So I'm very excited that I liked an expensive primer once again, you know? Okay, so moving on to the foundation. This is the Micro Silk Foundation, and this is $45, and you get the 1 fluid ounce. Again, really beautiful packaging on this one, and you do have a pump. I do have the primer and the foundation on today. I really like this one as well. I've been really happy with this foundation. I do think it pairs really beautifully with the primer also. I've used it with other primers as well just to try to get, you know, an idea of reviewing both the primer and the foundation, but I feel like every time I've worn it, it sits really nicely on the skin. I like that. I feel like it's a pretty solid medium coverage, which is my sweet spot for foundations. I prefer medium coverage, and I prefer more of a natural or a radiant finish. This one gives just a little bit more radiance to the skin, but it's also natural at the same time. So it kind of ticked off, kind of just ticked all of my boxes for what I look for in a foundation, so I'm very happy about that. The only thing with this one that I would say is a con is that after a few hours of wear, like maybe 6 hours of wear, I notice that it can either go into my lines, like my forehead lines, or my smile lines around my face. I can kind of notice them settling in there, and it almost kind of looks like I'm wearing foundation. When I first apply it and I finish all my makeup, I'm like, dang girl, you're looking stunning today. Thank you. But then after, like I said, like maybe that 6 hour mark or so, 6-7 hour mark, all of a sudden it just kind of looks like I'm wearing foundation again. So one thing I've been doing with that that I think helps is just giving my face a spray again with a setting spray, and I think it kind of helps calm everything back down. Sometimes I'll spray my face and then I'll just take my sponge and kind of dot around it again. So long wear wise, that's kind of my only con there, but I don't think that it breaks up. I don't think that it separates. I don't think it starts to, you know, slide off my face, transfer off my face, anything like that. It's just those little areas, those little lines in my face. Like maybe if I didn't have any lines, it would be great, but dang it, I do. But I felt like that was the solution, and once I do that, I feel like I'm back on track again, and that usually helps me until I'm taking my makeup off. So that was the con that I had for that one. The shade I have is Sand, and I feel like it's a pretty good match for me right now. The last product that I tried from Elcie Cosmetics is their Eclipse highlighter, and this is in Lunar. So again, really nice packaging, and I chose more of the pink toned highlight because I do love pink highlights on me. It does have a mirror in it. This is a really nice highlight. It is what I have on my skin today. I like it because it's not a super powdery highlight, just kind of thinking to that Shop Miss highlight that it was so powdery. This one really has like no powder kick up to it, and it's a nice highlight. I like it because you can apply it a little bit more like on the subtle side, especially if you use like a fluffier brush or just go in a little bit more light-handed. It can just give you a nice, it's not subtle, okay, it's like subtle for me, all right, so let me say that. Just a nice subtle like lit from within type of glow, or you can use a more dense brush. Like my favorite brush is the Sigma FL3, or you know, just go in or layer it up, and then you can get a little bit more of an intense highlight, which is what I do prefer. So I like that, and I like the kind of like the pinky sheen to it. I don't think it's too overwhelming. I don't think that it's too much. So I really like it. It is very expensive at $32, and I don't think that I like it at $32. If it was even in the $20 range, maybe I wouldn't be as iffy about it, but that's just really expensive, and I pay, like I've paid a lot of money for highlights, but I don't know, man, I just feel like that's kind of pricey, and I do like, again, I think that it's beautiful. I think that it looks really nice on the skin, but I don't know if I think it's like, whoa, that's so amazing, you know? I like it, but I'd be like, probably want to get this on a discount or with points, which is what I did. So those are my thoughts on the products that I picked up from Elcie Cosmetics. And then moving over to Oma Beauty. So I did have one miss here, and I'm really quite disappointed about this one because I was excited to try it out. This is the Stay Woke Concealer. All I saw here was Woke. I was like, I could have swore it was Stay Woke. So this is the Stay Woke Concealer. I picked up the shade Honey Honey. Now my shade match is not correct. This is kind of more of like a foundation shade for me. I typically would like to go like 2 shades lighter or something when it comes to my concealer, but I was like, you know what, that's okay. I still want to test it out and see, you know, if I like it, just be able to review it. And you know, if I love this concealer, I could get a different shade. You know, I could exchange it for my correct shade. But unfortunately this one caused me really bad eye irritation, one that I haven't seen a lot with other concealers, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit. So I noticed it about 2 days after I was using the concealer. I was getting small dots pretty much all around this area of my eye, like really like where I apply my concealer, and I thought, that's strange, and I didn't know what to do at first. I kept going about as normal, and then I thought maybe it's my eye cream, because I had been using an eye cream. I decided I didn't love it. The Estee Lauder, I reviewed it in my last Makeup Monthly. I switched to the Dermalogica Instant Eye Reliever or something like that, which I've used that in the past. I think I've gone through 2 full sizes of it, and I had another one, so I switched to it, but I was like, I don't know, maybe something about it is irritating my eyes, maybe because I've had it for a while, maybe it expired and it's causing me an irritation, so I stopped using that eye cream. All the while I'm still using this concealer because for some reason I did not think that it would be the concealer. It kept getting worse and worse. One day I was putting this on, I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder if it's the concealer. I stopped using it and it cleared right up. Those bumps went away. They weren't like breakouts, like they weren't like pimples or whiteheads. They were just like little dots under my eyes. I don't know what that was. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that with a concealer or anything, but it was really weird and it really freaked me out because, you know, it's close to my eye area. I was kind of freaked out. So once I stopped using this and they went away, I haven't put this on my eyes again because I'm just afraid of that reaction. I will say that when I used it, I actually quite liked the concealer, and as I was going about the first few days of it, I thought, oh, I think I am going to go ahead and exchange for my correct shade because I liked it. I liked the doe foot. It's very, very large, but you just need a little bit of product, like a few swipes, and you can get, you know, a really good amount of product on there. It has nice coverage. It was easy to blend out. I really didn't mind it, but something, I don't know what it is. I stared at the ingredients one day, which I don't know anything about ingredients, I'm not gonna lie to you, and I didn't know what it was that could be causing that reaction. And again, I've had reactions with like eyeshadows before. I've had reactions with mascaras, but I don't think I've ever had one with a concealer. So unfortunately, I am gonna see if I can return this. Again, I used all my points on it, so I don't know what happens there, if you get money back, points back, if they just laugh at you and tell you to leave. I'm not really sure what's gonna go on, but unfortunately I can't use this. So oh, I was really bummed about that because I felt like we were really getting on. So that concealer was $25. So again, Oma Beauty does have more of like a high-end price tag, I would say, especially because the next product is the Double Take Sculpt and Stroke. No, Samantha. This is the Double Take Sculpt and Strobe Duo Stick. I picked up Fair Lady, which is $3, and this is $40. So on one side you get a cream contour bronzer, and on the other side you get a cream highlight. I was a little unsure about this product when I first used it. Again, like I already mentioned, I'm not super into creams, but I was like, let's give it a shot. I've actually ended up really quite enjoying the cream. I use it as a bronzer because it's a little bit more warm tone on me. Typically with contours, I like a little bit maybe more cool tone. I just want to like make that shadow. This one is a little bit warmer on me, but I quite like this one. It is a very deep shade, so I feel like I don't have to go heavy-handed with this one, because if you can see, like, I don't have to go heavy-handed with this one. I don't have to constantly, like with the Shop Missy, you know, be building it up on my skin. I feel like it blends out really nicely. It's not super dry. I've tried the Fenty Beauty bronzer sticks, and I feel like those were so dry on the skin, and they really kind of upset my foundation and anything else that I already had placed down. This doesn't. So I'm really quite impressed with this side. I do like it. The other side, the highlight side, I wish I liked more because I feel like it would justify the price for me, but I don't love the highlight. It is very, like, even when I'm applying it to my skin, it feels wet. Like, it feels like it's damp. Like, and it just doesn't reflect the best on my skin. Kind of the way that I've used it, I've tried it with my fingers, but I feel like sometimes when I apply like a liquid highlight with my fingers, I feel like it just looks like fingerprints around my face, and I feel like especially with this very liquidy formula, it looks like that. So a lot of times I will just kind of take a damp beauty sponge and then apply it with a sponge, and that's the way I like it best. But it's just a little bit more subtle highlight on my skin, like not Samantha subtle, but like an actual subtle on the skin, and I wish it was just a little bit more. And again, I just don't really like that. It's just like slippery, and I don't really enjoy that. So generally when I wear this, I don't wear it by itself. I do have it on today. I put this one on first, blended it out, and then later I came in with the Elcie Cosmetics. So I do have my highlights later. I should have said that when I talked about the Elcie highlight. But I just don't really see a whole lot with this. So I'm kind of bummed because, again, it's $40 and I really only like one end of it. Like, I can use this and it's like fine, but I don't know. It's just kind of like a weird consistency, like an odd little formula. But I'm really excited that I liked the cream bronzer side. That does make me happy. So that's a plus there. It's a pricey product, you know? And then the last item that I had that I tried from Oma Beauty, knocking things over, is a lipstick. This is their let me make sure I say the correct name. This is the Badass Icon Matte Lipstick. It is $24. I got the shade Maya, because that's my niece's name. It's also very pretty. It is what I have on today. So it's a very me shade. So it's kind of more of this dusty mauve-y pink. And I love the shade. I'll say that. I really like the packaging. And funny story, I said in the video in my first impression that it reminded me of the Milk Makeup newly reformulated lip colors with like the white packaging. And it has like the magnetic sleekness to it. Well, I was cleaning up my office one day and I grabbed this and I was like, oh, my Milk Makeup lipstick, and I went and stored it with my Milk Makeup lipsticks. I have like 3 or 4 of those shades. And then I was getting ready to do this video and I was pulling everything out. I was like, how did I lose my Oma Beauty lipstick? Oh my gosh. I was looking in my purse. I was looking in my office. I was tearing apart drawers. I was like, I can't believe I lost it. And then it was like ping in my head. I'm like, you know what? And I went and sure enough I stored it with my Milk Makeup, because normally when I'm testing out new products I put them in a specific room. If I'm trying something like all from Ulta Beauty, I put everything back in that Ulta box because I don't want to lose anything. So I thought, how did I lose it? It's because I mistook it for the Milk Makeup lipstick. But for the actual formula, I think that it's nice. It's not my absolute favorite. I do like more of a matte bullet lipstick. It's just kind of my preference. It does apply very creamy, but I do feel like you need to wear a lip liner. So after I applied this, I went in and then lined my lips with the Spicy Lip Liner from Ofra, because I don't like, just almost because of how the shape of it is, you really can't get like preciseness when you're applying it. So I have to come in with a lip liner. So I will say that. Again, I like the matte look to it. I think that that's nice, but after a few hours of wearing this, it does again feel quite dry on the lips, and it gets to show a lot of the lines. Like I have, you know, lines in my lips, and after a few hours it starts to wear in there. It's not completely transfer proof, like, you know, it comes off a lot when I eat. I definitely do have to reapply after eating, which isn't terrible. I'm just kind of trying to point out my experience with it. I just wish it didn't get so drying, because I really like this shade. I like the matte look to it. I just wish it didn't get as dry. Like I feel like my lips kind of feel like they're shriveling up after a few hours. So I can either you know, put a gloss on or something like that, or have a balm on underneath it if I really want it to wear for a long time without feeling that uncomfortable, a dry feeling to it. But I think that it's pretty good. Again, I really do like the shade. If you don't mind drying lipsticks with, which, you know, I can do a little bit of dryness. I'm just saying, like, I've been wearing glosses a little bit more lately, so I'm kind of like, oh, you know, don't have to have dry lips. But I like it. It's expensive at $24. It really, I mean, that's an expensive lipstick. So those are kind of my pros and cons of this one, but I'm keeping this one. The only thing that I'm returning, or that I'm going to see if I can return from Ulta, is that concealer, and that's just because it gave me a reaction. But I like this one. Packaging definitely a plus. Color, big plus. Formula just kind of has me a little bit like on the so-so side. But other than that, that is going to wrap it up for today's hits and misses first impression follow-up video. I think this was a longer one, but I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed getting some of my thoughts on these products that I was trying. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below, of course. And as always, if you guys did enjoy this one, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. I hope that you'll also consider subscribing before you go, and I will see you in tomorrow's video.